Give me more kisses. Oh, gee, thanks. Oh, what are you whining about? Hey, I got to do a show. Here, say hello to everybody. Hi, I'm Honey. Oh, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Hi, I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, where you'll find us airing our views and petting our dogs here on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Roku Sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, joining me as usual is Aaron William Freeland and Honey Boo Boo. Okay, so this is our new puppy. We've
Oh,
had
Honey's
her
absolutely
since
adorable, Frank.
we've had her since she was, I think, 10 weeks.
Well, she seems very attached to you.
Oh, she's attached because I feed her. One
Ah,
thing
that's what
dogs
it
learn
is.
real quick is like the person who don't lick the hand that feeds you, lick the face of the hand that feeds you. Okay, I gotta put you down. Okay, say goodbye. Goodbye. I left the door open. That's why she got in. All right. Well, you know
Ah,
what? Family is really important. How's yours doing, Aaron?
my family's doing well. All things considered. Pops and mom are getting older, as is the usual way things go. But they're dealing with it well.
And generally speaking, how's the world treating you?
The world's been treating me just fine. Thank goodness for that. No issues
Good.
with vehicles. Got a chance to visit friends over the holidays. So life is good.
I'm a little jealous of two of our friends, our mutual friends,
Oh,
Heather
do
and
tell.
Frank.
Yes.
Did you see that? How they fly? Did you see how they fly?
Yeah, apparently Frank makes a decent amount of money where he's working, so they can afford to do that sort of thing. I am quite frankly, yeah, a little bit jealous, but at the same time, they still got to come to work like the rest of us, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, they're too great. They're salt of the earth, two fine people. They have no children. They have two really good jobs, and they do know how to enjoy life. And am I jealous? Absolutely. Do I resent them? Absolutely not. It is good fortune on their part that they're able to do such things. And you know what? Actually doing it is I'm proud of them for doing it, Aaron, because some people don't, have the opportunity and don't do it. And I think that's the greatest thing about if you can afford to do it, you know, if you got it, flaunt it.
Well, that
Damn
was
the
the commitment
torpedoes.
that Michelle and I made to each other too, because we are currently childless as well. The thinking was we would try to do one major trip a year. So this year we decided to schedule our trip around a hurricane. Next year, who knows?
Yeah, well, there is a price to be paid for having children, and that's in no way am I saying that there's no comparison. Like I'm not comparing anything. It is what it is. Every lifestyle has its purpose. Okay, let's talk to the top story of the day. One that happened while I was doing the CFL show with David. It happened while we were doing the show. It was just 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills tackled a receiver. He's a DB, and the contact that was there caused him, at least the way it looks right now. We'll hear, probably once the information's available to everyone, we'll all know what exactly happened. But some of the experts are saying that the hit caused his heart to stop, and they had to restart it on the field. And it took a couple of minutes, but he was only, as it turns out, 5 minutes from the hospital. He was in ICU within 5 minutes of leaving the stadium. So that's good news. And now we all know, and I think understand. Well, I understand because I left BMO Field in an ambulance. I'm not comparing my life to his, but the fact is, there's ambulances available there for emergencies, and any hit can happen that could cause something. You brought up this story. What do you want to say about it?
Well, it just it was a rather shocking event, and seeing the replays later, it was hard to watch, knowing the results of the situation. But also, it's a bit of a relief knowing that medical staff were on scene as quickly as they were, and that he got help as quickly as he did.
Absolutely.
This is one of those unfortunate circumstances where you got hit in just the wrong spot at just the wrong time to cause ventricular fibrillation. He got hit right in the recovery cycle of the heart. So, right in that instant where the heart goes to reset for the next pump, he took a shot, and it took a couple seconds for his brain to realize that this had actually happened. The good news is that they did get his heart going again within 6 or 7 minutes, and there was the good news is he's currently on a ventilator, but he's been moved down from 100% oxygen to 50% oxygen. So he's doing well in that regard. So that's a bit of a relief.
Yeah, absolutely. 24 years old, 24 or 25. Anyway, the beginning of his career, his second year with the Buffalo Bills, he came in as sort of a backup and started the year, and he has totally cemented a position on the defense. And he's a guy who's hard work and charitable nature. We hear about it. Sometimes we when we talk about athletes or famous people doing good things, there is this, and I have to admit, sometimes I go, okay, are they doing it to be kind, or is it part of the promo, right? But what I've come to realize is that whether they're doing it for the wrong reasons or not, if they're doing it, be grateful that they're doing it and be glad that they're helping somebody. The motivations we can discuss dependent on how they flout it, if you know what I mean.
Well, the good news about all of this is that his charitable foundation, which was originally designed to give
Yeah.
gifts to underprivileged children, has raised over $6 million.
6 million.
In addition to that, Damar Hamlin's jersey has been #1 at the NFL shop since Sunday night after this happened. So that's been a boon as well. The NFL has been saying that they will be donating that all the revenue generated from that to charitable causes and to help assist the player as well. So that is a good thing.
Let's be clear, the revenue that they have control over, because I think the
Yeah.
CFLPA gets a cut. I'm not sure if the players get a cut. I'm not sure if the teams get a cut. But I hope everybody in the line, whoever shares in that sale, will return that money and put it into charitable use, and that's a good thing. We all know that football is a dangerous sport, Aaron. We watch it. We love the game. We're big CFL fans. We've had some horrific injuries happen that we've witnessed, but I don't think we've had anything that traumatic. And when I say traumatic, it's very traumatic to the victim. Let's be clear. Above everyone else, he's the one that has suffered the most through it. But it's amazing by extension how much not only his teammates, but also the players on the other team and the players within the league have felt it. There was actual crying on the field. I don't know if I've ever seen that with that many players. It was like you said, it was scary, and it was really, it was a rude awakening. And I have to say, I'm not surprised they didn't continue the game.
Well, I mean, there were plans apparently, and I've heard noises to the effect that
NFL says
the
that's
NFL was
baloney.
planning on continuing the game anyways, and the players and coaches said no. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if that turned out to be true, but at the same time, I'd like to believe that the NFL isn't nearly that heartless.
Well, they said it. They
So,
said it didn't happen until somebody can prove otherwise. And you know what? This it isn't necessary that the NFL is made to look like they mishandled this situation. They've mishandled enough situations in the past that now all we need to do and need to see, I think, as fans and also people, right, with hearts and care, people who care, that there will be a full investigation into prevention of such an incident again, if it can be prevented. Unfortunately, this is a full contact sport, and these kinds of things are always, always on the threshold of happening.
well, in some of the more recent cases also involved minor league baseball players. and children between the ages of 13 and 17. There were actually a couple of incidences in the past few years that involved lacrosse goalies. And I know that a lot of equipment manufacturers started putting in bigger chest plates right over the hearts. The traditional design for the equipment, of course, was the kind that came together in the middle with a seam, which left a vulnerable area. But now some
Right
companies
down the
have
middle.
addressed that by adding, like an Iron Man style chest triangle over the heart area. That is now common on most of the sporting equipment that I use as a goalie and even as a defenseman. So I'm glad to see that there's that. But again, none of this is without risk. All of these are all of these physical contact sports. There is that element of risk. So
There always is. It's
yeah,
something that can't be helped. Um, all right. So hopefully they'll move on, create a correction in the equipment, help enhance the safety of the players that much more, and hopefully that's what'll happen. Another big story on a positive. Well, maybe we'll go to the CFL first. I'm just so excited about the story about the Leafs, but we'll get that one. Devontae Deadman, this dead man walking, is alive and well and going to play in Ottawa for 2 more years.
yep. He broke out with Ottawa during the 2021 season. After his rookie campaign in 2019, they signed him to another 2-year deal, which is awesome. He's going to be with them through 2024. It's a sign that they're definitely rebuilding. Um, So, in 22 career CFL games so far, he's returned 83 punts for over 1,200 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with 73 kick returns for over 1,900 yards. So this is definitely an asset that the Red Blacks can use on the defensive end, and I'm glad to see him back.
Absolutely. The Stampeders announced their 2023 coaching staff. It's now complete.
Yeah. Calgary Stampeders general manager and head coach Dave Dickinson has announced that he's rounding out his crew with Nick Lewis. The other newcomers to the staff include running back coach J.R. Davies, who's been actually serving as a regional scouting consultant for them. I honestly, this looks to be, I think, one of the things that they can build around. So.
Absolutely. The Argos part ways with Brandon Banks. He wins his Grey Cup. Does he finish his career in Hamilton? Maybe, possibly.
It's entirely a possibility. I know that sometimes Hamilton fans can be a wee bit fickle. They may view him as a bit of a traitor for having decamped for the Argos for a season to win his Grey Cup, and now that he's got it, he's coming back. It may not necessarily sit well, but if he does want to finish his career there, I think it would behoove the Hamilton organization to welcome him back with open arms.
Even if it means just going back for a contract and retiring as Hamilton Tiger Cat. That's something that I don't
Exactly.
think any of us would regret. He deserves that, and he got the Grey Cup championship that he came so close to getting with Hamilton 3 times, actually 4 times. Come to think of it,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about hockey, and uh, so you figure that. Do you figure that Morgan Riley, his head is in the game, or is he a little distracted? I figure he's distracted. You going to
Well,
skate
he
through
is
this one?
he is also just coming off an injury, so it's his first couple of games
Yeah,
back.
yeah. That's
But
now we know what the real reason was. He was celebrating his engagement with Tessa Virtue, is what he was
yeah,
doing.
I'm grateful to see that they are the next Canadian power couple after the dissolution of Avril Lavigne and Chad Kroger's relationship a few years back.
Ooh,
We have been left with a real power void in the Canadian power couple front, particularly in the arts and entertainment or the sporting world. So, very happy to see that she's engaged, that they're happy. Yeah, they announced it on a podcast, which was actually recorded back in October, but didn't actually come out until this January. So,
wow.
yeah, it's been a while, but they've been keeping it under wraps. So that's fantastic for them.
She also received the Order of Canada.
Yes, she did.
So she's had a couple of big things in her life. I don't
Most
know.
definitely.
I don't know if Morgan can rise up to. He's got a. I think he's got a collar with a Stanley Cup, and then maybe the MVP of the playoffs.
Well, a Conn
Little
Smythe would be
family
nice.
rivalry.
A Norris would be nice, you know.
Not the way he's playing. Not the way he's played, and
Oof.
the injury doesn't help either.
No.
I mean, we'll cut him some slack because since he just came back after being injured, he really does look like he's not up to speed.
Yeah.
Um, it's been an interesting comeback for him. Now the Leafs, the irony here is, Aaron, they lost all these, top six defensemen, three of them specifically, and they've dribbled back, and now they're back. Well, except for the big guy, and I'm not sure he'll come back. But
Yeah.
the point being that they adjusted just fine with number 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12. They played 12 defensemen and they played some really good hockey. And now, because of this adjustment period required, which I think is quite understandable, the defense doesn't look as good as it was before. A, B, now that he's back, we may have some forwards that are maybe taking it a little easier and looking for goals now more than playing the committed kind of defense they did with the defensemen that didn't have the kind of reputation that Morgan Riley has.
It was a bit of a carnival last night, to be sure.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was one of those moments. Yeah, it is a little too soon, I think, to sort of be looking at it like that. I mean, they
Well, there's
have,
two ways to look at yesterday's game. There's
well,
good
yeah,
news and bad news, right? The bad news is they lost. The good news is they got a point.
exactly. But I mean, even when you look at their past few games, they beat Tampa Bay 4-1, they beat Philly 4-3. Now, granted, they did lose to St. Louis already in overtime back on the 27th of December. So you kind of got to think that maybe St. Louis has their number because the past two games with them, they've gone to overtime. There was that terrible game against Arizona, but they followed that up with a 6-2 win in
They
Colorado.
won the
So,
game against St. Louis, Aaron. They won that
oh,
one in
sorry, that's
overtime.
my bad. Yeah, no,
Yeah, they won that
I
one in
had it.
overtime.
It's
It was
been a day.
payback time. St. Louis has won, I think. I think they were saying 3 or 4 games in a row in Toronto. They're in a bit of a run in winning in Toronto. So yeah, again, totally disappointed in the Maple Leafs, giving away a point.
Yeah,
Marner, his inconsistent scoring. Matthews can't put together a few goals in the game. I mean, he's not scoring in bunches like he did last year. It's just terrible. I mean, this team is not perfect, and
no.
I don't know how people expect Leaf fans to take that.
Well, I mean, you got to understand as well, Austin Matthews reaching milestone games and having disappointing losses seems to be a trend. I mean, when he played his first NHL game and managed to score
Oh,
4 goals and the Leafs still lost 5-4, we could hardly expect them to do any better when he gets to the 500-point milestone and they lose again in overtime. Seems
yeah,
to be
good
a
for
sort
him.
of a consistent thing here.
Yeah, there's people who are already talking about him leaving Toronto. Then you've got some people saying, "Don't worry, he's staying in Toronto." Um, I think the only thing to do here is he's going to play this year, he's going to play next year, and then there's going to be a discussion about a contract, whether it'll wait till the end of the year next year, or whether they'll re-up him before the season next year. We'll find out. Um, you know, I can't see the part that gets me a little bit is there's a lot more ancillary money that he can make here in Toronto than he could in 90% of the other cities in the NHL. You know, I don't know if he could even make more money in New York or LA. I don't know that he could. Um, I think there's that money that he can make. With the all the stuff that they're doing, the Leaf players are doing. They get paid a little extra money that other teams, players who are, no offense to a couple, there are some really good players out there like McDavid who isn't going to get the money outside of outside of his salary as easily as some of these Leaf players do because Toronto is, and I'm sorry everybody outside Toronto, yes, it's the center of the universe.
Well, and that's the thing, right? There isn't the endorsement money that you're going to find in other cities. Matthews doing endorsements for Bet99, or Nylander doing endorsements for Sonnet, or even what's his face, Mitch Marner, doing things for DoorDash, was it, or Uber Eats, one of the two. Anyways, one of those food delivery companies. There are more opportunities for players to make more money here, um, even if it's not under the NHL salary cap. So that is the
Even
one additional inducement to come here.
and even when they retire, there's an investment that if they're a Leaf, God forbid if they win a Stanley Cup. I mean, if these players, the money that they would make outside of their salary if they won a Stanley Cup, and that's something the Leafs should try to. Like I told you a long time ago, they should figure out a way to make the players understand that hey, you could have a really good career if we could stretch, our budget a little bit. And if they can get money outside outside of the game, but the NHL has warned the Maple Leafs not to do that. They can't like you can't get Canadian Tire to give Austin Matthews $2 million a year and be the sponsor of Austin Matthews playing for the Maple Leafs. The NHL won't allow that because that would be an unfair advantage because it would be an advantage to Toronto.
Well, also Canadian Tire is also a league sponsor as well, so that's one of those things that you can't really do.
So it'll be interesting anyway. All right. Well, hey, listen, holy crap. We just made it through hockey and we didn't get to do the news. One quick one, 30 seconds, let her rip, Aaron.
Sure. As it currently stands right here, I don't know if anybody else heard about this, but Lockbit apologized for a
No.
cyber attack at Sick Kids from
Yes, I heard
December
about it.
18th. They have actually offered to send them free unlocking software. They have also indicated that one of their purchasers has been delisted from them. They are no longer working with Lockbit. Now, Lockbit is an acknowledged provider of malware technology. I think that they're sort of going, hey, our mistake on this one is sort of a way to try to say we're not necessarily
A
always the
line,
bad guys, even
a
if our stuff
line,
is used for bad things.
a line they
Yeah.
crossed.
Yeah.
That was a line that those guys should spend the rest of their lives in jail. Sick Kids Hospital.
Yeah.
You malware sick kid hospital.
Yeah.
Give me
You got to be a special kind of jerk to do
Oh,
that.
you got to be a real ninja norm. No, anyway, a ninja nincompoop, I guess. Yeah, that was too much. Aaron, this was fun. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much, Frank. We'll see you Friday.
We sure will. Thank you, Aaron. For Aaron William Freeland, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out spanglishworld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.